Hello everybody! Hi! Welcome! My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be showing you some of the books I bought.
Love is the sweetest thing.
It's been a while since I have dedicated a significant amount of my time to reading. I'm not really sure what happened, but in my second or third year of high school, I just kind of lost interest. As a result, in recent years, my book buying habits have been pretty stagnant, which is probably a good thing for my bank account. But recently I started a new Instagram, which is primarily dedicated to my studies, but I found that there is a lot of overlap between Studygram and Bookstagram. Since starting my new Instagram account, I have really been inspired to rekindle my love for reading, and of course that means buying new books. All in all, I would say this haul, for as big as it is, didn't really cost me an outrageous amount of money. I was able to find some really good deals, which I will talk about later. But for now, let's jump into it. Keeping up the theme of studying and reading and academics, the first set of books that I'm going to show you actually were bought for school. I have a course that I am taking in the fall term, and my professor was lovely enough to release the syllabus like a month early, so I decided to just go ahead and buy all of the books for the course since they were all on Amazon. And here they are. So, as you can see, quite the stack. I'm definitely going to have a lot of reading for this class. So the first book we have is Capitalism, a Very Short Introduction by James Fulcher. And it is a very short introduction indeed. This book is only about 140 pages. Next up, we have Capitalism, a Short History. So this one isn't a very short history, it's just a short history. And it's by... I'm really sorry, I don't know how to say this name. Is it Jürgen? Jürgen Koka, maybe? Jürgen Koka. This book is pretty small as well though, because it's only about 200 pages. Next up we have The British Industrial Revolution in Global Perspective by Robert C. Allen. And this is the book that I think I am the most excited to read because I've really enjoyed learning about the Industrial Revolution in other courses. One of the main things that I really enjoy pondering is, why did the Industrial Revolution happen in Britain? And lucky for me, the very first sentence on the back of the book is, why did the Industrial Revolution take place in 18th century Britain and not elsewhere in Europe or Asia? So this book seems like it's right up my alley. And finally, the big one, Nature's Metropolis, Chicago and the Great West by William Cronon. I'm less excited to read this one just because the size is pretty intimidating. Okay, actually it's not too bad. It's about 390 pages of actual reading, and then about another 150 pages of footnotes. So honestly, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's definitely still the biggest book, so we'll see how this goes. If you couldn't have already guessed from the titles and contents of the book, it is a course about the history of capitalism, which is such a fun little niche topic in history to talk about, and I love it. I'm so thankful my university offers this course, because this is something that really interests me. Alright, moving on. Next up, we have the Six of Crows duology, which is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. These two books are both by Leigh Bardugo, and I have heard absolutely nothing but good things about them. Even people I know who hate reading YA fiction really seem to love these books. Recently, I've been reading a lot more adult fiction. I've been reading a lot of Murakami, but hopefully these two books will kind of get me back into the YA genre. Whew! So to finish off the new book section of this video, I have two box sets. So the top box set is Puffin Canadian Classics, which I'm really excited about because I actually am Canadian. We have Underground to Canada, Run, which I believe is about Terry Fox, Awake and Dreaming, and Mama's Going to Buy You a Mockingbird. And then for the bottom box set, this is the Puffin Classics Deluxe Edition. So it has Peter Pan, The Wind in the Willows, The Secret Garden, and Anne of Green Gables. I don't normally buy books in a box set, so these two things are definitely very exciting for me to own. I almost forgot to mention that one of the best parts about these two box sets was that I got them for super cheap. So the Puffin Canadian Classics box set normally goes for about $40, but I got this box set for, wait for it, $8. A whole $8. And the Puffin Classics Deluxe Collection normally goes for about $66, but I was able to get it half off, so I only spent $33. Alright, now moving on to used books. The first set of used books that I bought were actually the Hunger Games trilogy. I've never actually owned the Hunger Games before. I'm pretty sure when I was younger, I just borrowed them from a friend. I did recently buy The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Had to look at it to make sure I was getting the title right, but it's really, really nice to finally be able to own them for myself. Next up, we have the Complete Works of Shakespeare, which is honestly exactly what it sounds like. It is the complete works of Shakespeare. In grade 9, I read Romeo and Juliet. In grade 10, I read A Midsummer's Night's Dream. In grade 11, I actually didn't read Shakespeare because I took an Indigenous Lit course instead of taking the regular English course. So I missed out on reading Macbeth, but in grade 12, I read King Lear. I'm super, super excited to have this because obviously, like I said, I missed out on reading Macbeth, so that's probably the first Shakespeare play I'm going to read when I get around to cracking this thing open. And I really love the look and feel of these old books. Speaking of books that appear to be well used, I bought the complete Sherlock Holmes in 2 volumes. So this is the first volume, and not surprisingly, this is the second volume. I used to be a really, really, really big fan of the BBC's Sherlock, which is not surprising because it was like 2013, 2014, and I had a Tumblr account, so I'm definitely super excited to start reading these. Next up, I bought the Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Now, I don't actually have a lot to say about this book because I genuinely don't really know what it's about, but I do know that a ton of people recommend it. I'm kind of excited to go into it semi-blind. Like, I don't even really want to read the back of the book, I just kind of want to start reading it. And finally, last but not least, we have For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway. I really, really adore Ernest Hemingway's novels. I have read The Old Man and the Sea, as well as The Sun Also Rises. I've had the opportunity to buy this on more than one occasion, and I don't know why I didn't. This is definitely going on my TBR for September. So all in all, I would say that my book buying habits are definitely back to where they used to be when I was an avid reader. I definitely bought way more books this month than I had intended to, but so many of them were just such a good price that I couldn't pass up the opportunity. Now I'm going to go try to find a spot to put all of these books.